tonight. Saskatchewanians in Puerto Vallarta take cover as violence erupts on the streets of the Mexican tourist destination. Why a number of Nigerian-born doctors are choosing to make our province home. And as the Winter Olympics come to a close, some worry about the future for Canada's elite athletes.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Monday, February 23rd, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thank you for joining us. Canadians remain trapped in parts of Mexico after the army killed the head of a narcotics cartel and violence erupted. Authorities say at least 73 people died in the operation surrounding the death of the drug lord known as El Mencho. Mexican authorities say at least 25 soldiers were killed in the operation, which was originally intended to apprehend the suspect. El Mencho was known for trafficking fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine to the United States. The U.S. says it provided intelligence support to the operation to capture the cartel leader and applauded Mexico's army for taking him down. Some people from Saskatchewan are vacationing in Puerto Vallarta right now. They say the situation there is tense, with some unable to get home. Aishwarya Duda has more in our top story.
Puerto Vallarta is a popular destination for Saskatchewan travelers, and it's a frightening time for many of them amidst the cartel violence and canceled flights. Scott Bell is a retired lawyer from Saskatoon who's been visiting the area for more than 2 decades. He was shocked when he saw plumes of smoke on Sunday.
You have periods of time where it's just silent. You hear the wind, you can hear the ocean in the distance. And then the silence will break and you'll hear pop, pop, pop. I don't know what the pops are, if they're guns or if they're firecrackers. And periodically you'll hear loud bangs, and the loud bangs are often followed by plumes of smoke rising at somewhere in the city.
Bell says he's sheltering in place and that property owners have sent a stark warning: stay inside or risk getting shot. Dozens of Canadians gathered at bars to watch the Olympic hockey final Sunday morning. But between the third period and overtime, explosions rattled the windows.
We heard about 10 explosions that were pretty close. And there was one actually within a block away.
Nick Fay is in Puerto Vallarta with his girlfriend and her 3 children. They were supposed to fly home to Regina on Monday, but with no flight, they're stranded.
The car that exploded in front of our resort, literally a block away. I took a photo. I didn't know it was that close. You could see the plumes of smoke.
One Saskatoon family says they've struggled to find basic necessities and had to leave their property to hunt for food Monday morning.
I saw 2 ladies running down, so I followed them. I was like, oh my gosh, where are they going? And because they probably have contacts, they realized there was another little tiny store just a block away that was going to open, so I quickly got in line and we were able to get groceries this morning.
Back in Saskatchewan, flights from other Mexican vacation spots like Cancun are still arriving.
We're happy to be home.
Yeah, I think it generally happened 15 minutes after we boarded, so we were very lucky.
The Mexican president is urging calm. Many fear there's more violence to come. The Canadian government says it's closely monitoring the situation. But for trapped Canadians, the vacation's over. Aishwarya Duda, CBC News, Saskatoon.
SaskPower has laid out a new strategy to improve the way it gets electricity into homes and businesses across the province. The Crown Corporation is looking to make a big investment in expanding transmission capacity, including reinforcing its existing transmission lines and developing new ways to get power up north, eventually connecting the province's north and south power systems. The minister responsible for SaskPower says the planned improvements will also help pave the way for different types of power generation.
That really is the overall objective. Reliability and affordability here in this province, but also allowing Saskatchewan and SaskPower to use our resources here in this province, particularly uranium, as we are moving to nuclear power generation in this province, using our resources for our power here, but also using them to produce profit through SaskPower for our ratepayers here in Saskatchewan.
Harrison says an improved transmission system will help power future uranium mines in the north and will also help send power to Alberta, Manitoba, and neighboring U.S. states when it's needed there. And power generation is a topic of conversation in the U.S. as well. Wind power is among the many things in the crosshairs of President Donald Trump. He's gone out of his way to criticize the renewable energy source and blow up various projects in his country. But as Susan Ormiston explains, Canada might stand to benefit as a result.
President Donald Trump is engaged in a war on wind.
There are windmills all over the place, and they are losers.
We're on the New England coast near Newport, Rhode Island, and just off here, 24 kilometers, is a large wind turbine project, almost finished. One of 5 projects in development up and down this coast. But twice since August, the U.S. Department of the Interior has forced stop work orders, costing these companies hundreds of millions of dollars and workers their jobs.
There was a pipeline of work that was promised for decades. They feel betrayed. They feel like they've been punched in the gut.
We reached Rhode Island Democrat Senator Sheldon Whitehouse.
With all of the funding that the fossil fuel industry has given to Trump, this is kind of payback.
But the offshore wind companies are fighting back, taking the Trump administration to court. In 5 legal challenges in January and February, the stop work orders were overturned. So now business is back and work is resuming here at this pier in New London, Connecticut. Ørsted, a big offshore Danish company, is rushing to get 2 wind farms completed. One, Revolution Wind, is expected to start producing power soon at rates lower than power from natural gas. In a strange twist, the attempted purge here in New England could be of benefit to Canada in the long run, with Nova Scotia's premier pushing for wind power off the East Coast.
The interest is through the roof. There's a lot of eyes on Nova Scotia right now. There's a lot of eyes on Canada right now.
Wind West could take nearly a decade and $40 billion to build. Transmission lines, another $20 billion.
The industry will pay. Governments, there's a role for governments. Tax credits, we're having, very encouraging discussions with the federal government.
Globally, wind power is accelerating, with the UK and Europe just recommitting to speed up plans for wind power in the North Sea. But here, clearly President Trump is putting a wind chill on future investments. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Providence, Rhode Island.
Back in this province, a number of Black doctors from around the world are choosing to live and work in Saskatchewan. Some of them have taken up practice in Prince Albert, but the president of the association that represents Black doctors in Canada says more Black representation is still needed in the medical field. Lisa Rism has that story.
Nigerian-born Chukwuma Ore-Bunam traded the warmth of Africa for a life in Prince Albert. He was working as a doctor in the United Kingdom when he was recruited by the Saskatchewan Health Authority less than a year ago.
I first of all took a bit of time to learn how to pronounce Saskatchewan, because I told them I knew about Canada, but I never heard of Saskatchewan. So they told me a lot about this place, and it's really tickled my fancy.
He's among a group of about 25 Nigerian doctors and specialists working in Prince Albert. Dr. Nnamdi Nnadobuka is the president of the Black Physicians of Canada Association. He says the Black population is underrepresented. They make up 4.5% of the population, but the number of Black doctors in Canada is at 1.5%. International recruitment is slowly increasing the numbers, but Nnadobuka says more are needed.
We still have a lot of gaps. We don't have enough representation on senior management tables. We don't have enough representation at faculty level. We don't have enough representation even within the medical students.
He says Black doctors have encountered racism in the system and from co-workers and patients.
There are colleagues who have faced some kind of discrimination, patients saying that they don't want to see a racialized physician.
It wasn't a shock seeing very few patients attempt to discriminate against me because of the color of my skin or the way I speak. But I think they are such a minority that maybe it doesn't worry me too much. Now, that doesn't mean that it is right.
Despite the challenges, there are rewards. A short commute and friendly people has made these physicians call Saskatchewan their home. Lisa Rism, CBC News, Prince Albert.
Well, if you are a Saskatchewan Roughriders season ticket holder, you could soon be joining other CFL fans in doing this. The Riders have announced a lottery system for fans to get spots for tailgating in the parking lot of Mosaic Stadium for the upcoming CFL season. Each tailgating spot includes 2 parking spaces, one for your vehicle and the other for your tailgate setup. It is $500 for the whole season, including home playoff games. And you have to enter the draw before midnight on March 5th. Stay with us, we have more news, and Mickey's back with the forecast after the break. The U.S. has been hit by a major winter storm, one that's making its way to Atlantic Canada. Officials say it's the worst snowstorm the Northeast has had in over a decade, with several states under states of emergency. And as Peter Cowan reports, some areas have been blanketed with more than 60 centimeters of snow.
New Yorkers just aren't used to a blast of snow like this. An intense blizzard dropping 50 centimeters by midday.
It's probably about the worst I've seen.
After 45 years living here, Jonathan Chapman had to dig out like never before.
It's hard work. I've already done it several times already. This winter, it's getting a bit of a pain.
The snow, wet and heavy, being whipped around by high winds, snapping trees and causing power outages. Schools in New York City closed for the first snow day in 7 years. Millions being warned to just stay home.
We are plowing streets and doing everything we can to keep our roadways clear so that emergency vehicles can get through.
More than 800 emergency shovelers hit the streets to try and keep up, as thousands of flights were canceled across the U.S., stranding travelers in airports like Newark.
We all got off the plane and then winded up sleeping here, so this is something I'll check off my bucket list.
It's not just New York. The storm is affecting more than 40 million Americans from Massachusetts to Delaware.
You've seen some of our emergency personnel with the National Guard in their Humvees getting stuck with conditions, frankly, that we haven't seen in over a decade.
Even the snowplows are no match for this storm.
You couldn't see the road, couldn't see the lanes. It was slippery. It's like an ice sheet out here. This truck has a problem staying on the road a little bit.
A major inconvenience for many, but not everyone.
I think we find ourselves in the rare situation where we have snowshoes in New York City and there's a bunch of snow in Central Park, so we're like, gotta seize the day.
While New York begins the cleanup, the storm is still wreaking havoc to the north, with blizzard conditions expected to last into Tuesday. Peter Cowan, CBC News, Montreal.
Weather specialist Mickey Wolf joining us now, and while the east coast of the U.S. and Canada see that snowstorm, Mickey, here things have finally calmed down a little bit, it seems.
They have definitely calmed down a little bit, Ethan. We are seeing some snow tonight across the province, but surely nothing like they're seeing over in the East Coast. Let's take a look at some of our daytime highs today, because things are starting to warm up a little bit, and it's a lot of a bit if you are in Maple Creek today with that high near 11 degrees. You start to forget it's February with temperatures like that. As you can see, folks, our skies right now are bringing some snowfall across central Saskatchewan and pockets of the south, but again, we're not seeing that heavy snowfall like they are across the border in the U.S. As we get into Tuesday in the afternoon and overnight, we've got a high pressure system moving out of the province. We're going to see a nice mix of sun and cloud tomorrow, but then as we get into Wednesday and Thursday into the early morning hours, we will see a little bit more snowfall for south and central Saskatchewan. That snowfall is concentrated to overnight tonight. As you can see, we're seeing a few centimeters predicted here for parts of the south and central region. Then as we get into Thursday, we will see a few more centimeters, but we're not looking at too much, under 5 centimeters across both regions for the next few days. And we are seeing a bit of a heavier snowfall for parts of the Churchill region as we get into Thursday, especially for La Loche. That is going to be happening in the early Thursday morning hours for folks there. Now, we do have a warm up to look forward to. It's going to be a temporary warm up. Most likely we're seeing it Thursday. We're looking at potentially some temperatures in the plus degrees for Saskatoon and Regina at least. So we've got those cold mornings to deal with a little bit. As you can see there, folks, we're seeing some wind chill factors. But as we get into our week for Regina, we've got that Thursday warm up before things cool down a little bit for the weekend. I'm just happy we're not seeing those wind chill factors down to -30. But we do have a few chilly days, especially with winds gusting up to 50 Friday. That might feel quite a bit cooler for folks in Regina, as well as Saskatoon, again, with those gusting up to 50 winds. Again, it's going to feel a little bit breezier. We might feel more like -20 on Friday for Saskatoon. But overall, as you can see here, we've got a nice amount of sun in the mix for the week ahead of us in Saskatchewan. We might see some snow for Saskatoon Thursday, but overall it's looking pretty clear. So Ethan, I'm really grateful I'm not in New England right now to be dealing with that heavy snowfall.
Yeah, real roller coaster though, temperature-wise, looks like.
Oh, definitely. There's peaks and valleys this week, Ethan, with those temps.
Yeah, there sure is. Okay, thank you, Mickey.
Thank you.
Well, the Winter Olympic Games have officially come to a close, and the closing ceremony was a time to celebrate Canadian triumphs, but there was also a note of pessimism from Canadian Olympic officials. Alexander Silberman has this look at fears for Canada's Olympic future.
The Milano Cortina Games coming to a dramatic close at Italy's historic Verona Arena. Canadian speed skaters Valérie Maltais and Steven Dubois carrying the maple leaf into the closing ceremony. As the Games conclude, Team Canada celebrates 21 medals overall, including 5 golds, finishing 8th in the overall medal count, Canada's worst showing since 1992. Some younger stars emerged.
Find her feet, Megan, yes!
Freestyle skier Megan Oldham, a 2-time medalist at 24 years old, and quadruple medalist speed skater Courtney Sareau, aged 25. But 3/4 of Canadians on the podium were 30 and older, and some fear for the future due to what they call a funding crisis.
They are forced to make impossible choices, to cut essential support staff, cut training camps.
The Canadian Olympic Committee painting an alarming picture.
We're creating a pay-to-play system in Canada where wealth and luck are some of the major determining factors as to who gets to stand on a podium.
At a Montreal fan event, this Olympic champion warns other countries are increasingly outspending Canada.
It costs money, so we need more.
He says the rising costs for athletes mean some are saying goodbye to Olympic dreams.
Recently, I saw 2 of them on social media. I said, okay, well, we stopped. My heart went like, I broke my heart.
The committee is calling for an extra $144 million in core funding. It says there hasn't been an increase in more than 20 years. But the government insists funding is sufficient.
I'm grateful to be Canadian, win, lose, or draw every single time.
As fans celebrate the thrilling wins Canada did manage to pull off, many say the unifying force of sport makes it worth spending more on the Olympics. Alexander Silberman, CBC News, Montreal.
Well, one of the disappointments of these games for Canada was, of course, the men's hockey team's overtime loss to the U.S. Fans packed into Regina's Four Seasons Sports Bar bright and early Sunday morning to catch the game. The party started with excitement and cheers, but eventually ended with groans and head shakes. But some fans we spoke to are still holding on to some optimism.
I mean, that's what I said from the beginning, is going to go to OT, and yeah, it was a quick goal, pretty sad, but hey, I'm still proud of Canada. They made it to the final, but hey, it is what it is.
I am devastated and very sad for the guys and for the country, but I know it's a day of unity and it brought everybody together, and hockey brought us all together and made us all united. We put everything aside, all our views, all our opinions, and we all came together for one great team.
And also an unfortunate outcome for both of Saskatchewan's university women's basketball teams over the weekend. The Calgary Dinos defeated the U of S Huskies in their Canada West semifinal. The loss also puts an end to the Huskies' impressive 50-plus game winning streak. The Dogs still have a chance, though, to play in the U Sports Final 8. The U of R Cougars, meanwhile, also dropped their semifinal to the UBC Thunderbirds by a score of 74-68. We're back after the break. Ontario Premier Doug Ford gave his reaction Monday to the U.S. Supreme Court ruling on Donald Trump's tariffs. In the update Monday morning, Ford also addressed how his province will deal with upcoming CUSMA negotiations.
Make no mistake about it, President Trump still has a lot of tools, but I think it's the walls are closing in on President Trump. No matter if you saw him lose the vote and 6 Republicans cross the floor, with Congress, then you saw the Supreme Court decision. We'll see how the Senate decision comes up, but I'm going to be on the phone full steam. I just saw another example of how the entire country came together to watch the game and just shows unity. And then we're going to take the same approach, which we have been when it comes to CUSMA, USMCA deal. And we're going to continue working hard by diversifying what we have here right around the world. You know, it was a positive message from the Supreme Court.
Ford went on to say his province and the federal government have a plan for everything, but he says hope is not a strategy. And Mickey is back now with one last look at the forecast.
Ethan, we've got a little bit of a chilly night in store for us across the province before we get to that eventual warm-up on Thursday. Let's take a look at our overnight lows tonight for Saskatchewan. We are seeing some cooler temperatures across south and central parts of the province. Here we're seeing those lows near -20 in the central region. And as you can see here, folks, we are expecting some flurries and light snow overnight. Saskatoon is definitely going to see some heavier amounts. Well, heavy up to 4 centimeters, that is. Not quite like the East Coast. In the north tomorrow, we will see a little bit of a warm up, especially for the Churchill region, with a nice mix of sun and cloud. And sun and cloud seems to be what is on for the province tomorrow. We've got a nice mix of sun and cloud as well for south and central Saskatchewan. We're seeing those temperatures start to rise, especially in that southwest corner. Ethan, I'm going to do my best to get outside and enjoy some of that nicer weather as we get into the work week. I'll try.
Okay, well, I'll try as well. Maybe some skiing now this week, hey?
That sounds good. Skiing sounds perfect.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Mickey.
Thank you.
And that's our news for this Monday. You can head to our website or YouTube channel for the latest news or download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching.